Hello and welcome to today's video. Here I'll be showing off everything you need to know to complete any automation within Core Keeper. Feel free to skip to whatever part of the video that you would like to go to for that specific automation. The first thing that I'm going to show you is the item sorter. To begin, we need to set up an electric generator, but you can't just have it fully powered, because the way that we're going to have this set up is we're going to use drills to pull items, and if the drills are consistently on, they'll eventually break the chest. So we're going to need to make a blinking system. You need to place a generator, then have a logic circuit facing your item sorter. From there, on the side, you will place a delay relay that leads into the logic circuit. Place the wires as such. From there, you will then spread that blinking power out to where your contraption will lie so that everything is powered. Feel free to set up this system multiple times and connect the wires to any of the blinking parts, so it will not disrupt the power in any way. Next, you're going to set up at the very start a dump chest. This is where you're going to throw everything in for the item sorter to go through. Have a fully powered arm next to this chest that is away from your sorter. Then you can have it run conveyors into the spot you want it to start. From that empty spot, you are going to set up a crane arm into a chest, and then a drill that is faced at the same point as that crane. After that drill, you will then have another empty space. The reason we leave this empty space is just in case there's a flood of items, the system is able to work through it without any of the items becoming impossible to grab. Repeat this setup as many times as you want for as many chests as you want, and then you will start going into each of those chests. From within those chests, you want to set it up like a Minecraft sorter. You want to spread out items into every single slot to only have the items you want within that chest, so that anytime a crane will drop an item on top of that chest, if it doesn't have a spot for it, it'll then get pulled by the drill and continue down the line. In addition to all this fun stuff, know that any of the benches that is placed near a chest can still pull from that chest. As long as it's one tile away, it can still grab resources needed to craft the items you want from different chests, however you wish to set them up. The next thing that you want to set up is a production line. Within this production line, you're going to want 3 types of every production unit. So you want 3 regular forges, 3 upgraded forges, 3 fury forges, 3 glass smelters, 3 wood cutters, and then multiple incubators. It is good to have more than 3 incubators because only 1 egg can go into 1 incubator. To set up your production line, you simply place the production unit, a crane, have it fully powered, and the crane will do the work for you, going all the way around. The only one that's different is the fury forge, where you'll need to have a crane arm leading into the forge itself. Then from the fury forge, you have a crane arm leading out to a conveyor belt to the next tile over that sends it back in and around, and then from there you're able to send it through. Next you want to set up is ore collection. Sure, you can spend the time to set up large conveyors across the world to get to each one of these nodes, but ultimately I find it more of a hassle because eventually enemies can ride that conveyor all the way into your base and destroy your work. So it's just easier to set up mine rails and ride the mine carts to these different areas. To set up the collection at the nodes, you want to set it up like this. What it will do is you'll have these consistently powered so that it is always collecting. 6 is plenty to keep it always going at a consistent speed so that the forge doesn't get overloaded with items and it's able to keep up with the smelting. You then have the conveyors lead all the way around to a fully powered crane arm, into the forge, into another crane arm to pull when it's done and drop it into a chest. You then ride around to the different nodes and then you collect from the chest. The reason I prefer this setup is not every node lasts forever. They will expire at one point. So when it's done and you no longer can get anything from it, you can then recollect all the pieces you have here and just set up at a new node. And it's much easier to travel by portals when you make it that far, so you can just keep moving those and setting them up accordingly. The next thing we're going to talk about is wood collection. What you want to do is you want to cut out an area where they cannot grow any further than where you want it. You will then set up a line for the specific tile that it needs to grow on, whether it be dirt, coral, or crystal. You then set up the different root seeds that you need, and then from there you leave a space, set up a drill that is consistently powered, and then a conveyor behind that leads into your system of either production line if you want more planks from this, or straight into your item sorter so you can have regular wood. After wood collection, we're going to talk about gardening. Unfortunately, there is no way to effectively and consistently set up a gardening automation. All crops in the game, the best way to do it is set up a 5x5 square and put an automated watering unit in the middle. This is the most easiest way to do so. However, However, with gardening, there is one plant that you're able to automate, and that is mushrooms, because it grows from the moss. What you want to do is you want to set up the moss on a single tile and then surround that tile by walls. On top of that moss, set up one of the spike traps. That way, any mushrooms that grow, or any mushrooms that spawn, will be killed by the spike trap and drop their item. From there, you set up crane arms around to collect from the wall itself so that if it drops anywhere, it's able to grab it. From there, set up conveyors that will lead back into your item sorting system. The next thing that we'll set up is cattle. For cattle, what you want to do is you want to set up a trough. Make sure that you're able to access this trough at any time. Then you go one over, one down, and you then place a crane arm that leads in and have this fully powered. After you have set this up, you will then set up conveyors to loop around in a circle consistently. Close this off, keep a space open, place your cattle in because you can't place cattle on conveyors, and then have all your conveyors leading to the outside wall. By doing this, you'll have time for your cattle to be able to eat from the trough, as well as having the items eventually loop around to where that crane arm is so it can grab it for all the items that drop. And the last thing that you can automate is mob farming. Now there's a couple of things to notate with this. The first thing you want to set up is your collection and kill room. What you need to do is you need to have a open area that is carved out so that there is only one path with conveyors that lead into your strongest wall. From there, you set up a crane arm that leads into that wall so it can collect any items that are pushed into it and then have it into the conveyor that goes down. Now within this distance that you have that is open, you can do a couple of things to kill off any extra mobs. You can set up turrets that you can collect within the desert mazes, or if you have enough glaxite, you can make them yourself. Or, my favorite thing to do is set up a radiation crystal that you get from the crystalline caverns. The next thing you want to do is within this space, the line of conveyors that lead into your kill room, you will then set them all up as the floor of mold blocks. This will slow down every single enemy in the game except the mold people, and it will allow them to spawn in. Next, you want to set up the square as big as possible. The larger it is, the better it is. The more space that you expend for the spawning, the more area and time it has to spawn in. From there, you're going to set up all the moss that you would like for what you want to spawn. You then place conveyor belts that lead into that middle line that leads into your kill room. Enemies will fight each other, which will just be a transportation of items. Any enemy that ends up living will eventually make it to that kill room and die and get items collected that as well. And there you have it. That is everything that you can automate in Core Keeper that I know of. If you like what I do, make sure you comment, like, and subscribe, and I'll see you all next time.